Kia ora Homa. On today's video, I'm going to teach you how to make a really simple and easy self-portrait and no drawing or anything whatsoever involved. All you're going to need is a pair of scissors, a few magazines, a piece of card or paper that you're going to glue everything onto. Obviously, you're going to need a glue stick and 2 photos of yourself printed out onto some A4 paper. It doesn't need to be color, black and white is fine, and you'll see why. This is just my practice demo version, but we're going to create a really good one together. So stick around and I'll see you in the video. So we're back. The materials that you're going to need are 2 photos. Now the idea is that you want to take one photo face on, like I've done here, and one photo in profile, so side on. And the reason, because we want it to create a kind of distortion even though we know it's the same face. We're creating a new face out of 2 different angles basically. So what I've done with I've chosen to use black and white because I'm going to have a lot of colorful pages as my background, like you saw in the previous picture. You can see here that I've gone round certain parts of my face with a Sharpie, and the idea, what I've tried to do here is create almost like a jigsaw puzzle. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut these out. I'll switch to time lapse to speed up the process a little bit, but I want to try and leave as much of that Sharpie on as I can. I'll touch it up later, but that's going to help create somewhat of a border between the face and the background, which is going to help it stand out. Okay, so I've cut out my 2 parts of my face. I'm not going to show you what it looks like yet. You can see that at the end like me. And I've got this orange paper here. Now this is a standard orange coloured card or paper that you get in your school art supply. The reason I'm using this is this paper tends to be a little bit thicker and heavier than normal white A4, so it's going to have a little bit of rigidity to it, and it's not going to go all funny when I glue all my pieces of paper to it. Now I'll just show you some of the pictures that I've chosen as my background. I got all of my pictures out of National Geographic because they're beautiful and high gloss colour. When you get your students to pick their photos, their pictures from their collage, you're going to want to try and get them as much as possible to pick things that interest them. Ideally you want to work big with the pictures. You don't want too many little pictures on there for a couple of reasons. You don't want the kids to be sitting there all afternoon trying to finish a background, but you want observe people looking at the picture to have a chance to actually look at something a bit big. So what I mean by that is you want it to be you do want it to be visually appealing, so you can see like themes going on. So what I've tried to pick really evocative, emotive kind of pictures, things that are going to make people kind of look at it and think what the messages I'm trying to get across. Some of these are really, really large, obviously, like this one here would take up the whole paper, so I'm going to have to cut it down. So I want to try and capture scenes out of some of these photos, and I don't necessarily want to put the whole thing down. So it's going to take me a little while to cut these out and figure out my layout, but this part has to go down first and then the face goes on last. So we're on the home stretch now and I've finished my background. I'm quite happy with that. I'm glad too that it worked itself out and I didn't get any orange spots. Now I'm just going to flip it over so you can see the back. Now I do create a lot of overlap, and it's better to have overlap than not enough, because we can come back and trim it up later, and by trimming it too you're also going to get any of the little orangey bits that you might have sticking out of the corner. I did a pretty good job, but if I show you right there, so you can see a little bit of orange peeking out behind that picture, but that's okay. So now what I need to do is, I've got my face part and this is where the jigsaw puzzle kind of thing comes into play. Now the trouble is you don't want to cover up too much. You want people to be able to see what you've created. So when you do it too, one of the things I suggest is, it's like I'll just show you here, the photo that's face on, it's always best to cut out the nose of that part so you can overlap the profile picture going the other way. You might want to do it vice versa. Generally with this kind of stuff, I always tell my students the uglier it comes out, the better. So here's the finished product. I've still got to trim it up yet, but I'm quite happy with the result. I tried to pick some really, I suppose you'd say, intimidating photos and pictures. So there's like a scene from Caesar's assassination, and this is from a caveman thing, and there's underneath my face is Ivan the Terrible. This dollar bill here is a picture of a counterfeited dollar bill. So all kinds of almost negative imagery I chose to do this one. I did have some other pictures I intended to use, but they were too kind of bright and happy for the theme that I was going on in this. That's not to say that I'm a negative person, because I'm generally not. So yeah, I thought the pictures went well with what was going on in here, especially the context of how you create this image. So yeah, really quick, easy idea. I was able to knock that out in probably about 20 odd minutes with a class of students. Obviously you're going to go through the process, and you might take anywhere up to an hour. Might take a couple of days just to get that base thing down, take all their photos, profile, face on, chop them out properly, instruction how to cut them out properly. But you can see that the final result comes out really, really well. A little bit different to your standard self-portrait. And when people come in to look at them, especially if you use lovely, beautiful photos like that and things like that, people are going to go, wow, look at that stuff. Anyway, please share my videos. The reason I ask you to do that is just to get the message out there. You know, share the love with everyone. But if you like this video, hit like. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. All the viewers and the kind comments and things on Facebook that people and questions. I'm down for questions. Please ask lots and lots of questions. I love that kind of stuff. But for now, ka kite anō, and I'll see you next time on Mr. Ashley's Place.